Morning, everybody. I hope you're well. I'm out here on another morning dog walk in a rather misty Lincolnshire Wolds. Unfortunately, I'm walking with my back to the sun, so the picture's not going to be all that great for a little while. Obviously, I did my match report last night, which you can find on the website, but I really wanted just to have a little bit of a chat about the game itself, about how it panned out, and a little bit of analysis after I've managed to have a night's sleep and kind of put some distance between me and the result, because as a Lincoln City fan, really easy not to start getting carried away. 23 games, halfway point, pivotal point in the season, and here we are, clear top of the league, game in hand over our nearest rivals. We just put a 7-point gap between us and Portsmouth. It's phenomenal, really. Morning, Dave Johnson. Good to have you on board, my friend. So, obviously, I did a match report last night, and I was going to do a little bit of analysis as well. George Harvey said, "Did I know Portsmouth were reduced to 10 men?" I didn't, but I've looked back over looked back over it this morning, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So, look, from the start of the game, I felt we were the better side, but we were the better side against a team who you knew would hurt you if they got an opportunity. And I think I was seeing in the first 20 minutes, it was just end to end. I remember looking down at my notes after 15 minutes, and I'd probably filled up as much of a page as I had in half a game against Accrington, because it was end to end without any real clear-cut chances, probably. But it was just played at such a good pace. It was a great advert for League One. We know Portsmouth are a good side. We know that they've got some decent players. When they had spells of possession, I thought they looked really good, but we did the same. This was a very different Lincoln City side to the one that we beat on, the one that we lost to, I beg your pardon, last year. It was makeshift Lincoln City side back then. This was Michael Appleton's Lincoln City. So I think up until 30 minutes, it was an even game. It could have gone either way. And even at that point, one goal wins it. I'm not saying at that point that it finishes 1-0. What I'm saying is whoever scores the first goal in the game in the first 30 minutes wins the game. Because if it's Portsmouth, I think they then kind of shut up shop, defend with 11 men. I think that they would have done that very, very well. Or we crumble, they go for the kill, and it ends up another 3-0 or whatever as it's against Sunderland. We've seen that happen this season. We get the first goal, and I think their heads drop. And I think the reason for this is I get a feeling that there's a bit of a victim mentality around Portsmouth, and maybe that comes out in the wrong way. But I feel that when you go down to 10 men, which they did, and we'll talk about in a moment, you don't have to instantly go into your shell and just say, "Oh, poor us, we're going to get beat now." And I felt their tactics did that a bit. They didn't make the substitution straight away of bringing the centre half on and adjusting things. They it was almost like instantly they went into a siege mentality. I don't think you have to do that. I don't think you have to go there when you go a man down. We saw it when we went away at Swindon in our title winning season. That didn't happen. We went a man down and we kept on pressing. I think even we scored after Bruno was sent off. Then we went 2 men down and it was a little bit different. So I get the impression that if you go 1-0 up against Portsmouth at Fratton Park, they can kind of go into themselves a little bit, even though there's no fans in the stadium. I just get the feeling that they are fragile. When they're good, they're very, very good. When you hit them, they've got a glass jaw. And I think that I may be wrong about that. I haven't seen lots and lots of Portsmouth, but I just got that impression. Even from I listened to their commentary on iFollow, and I even felt it was almost like a poor me situation. They were, poor Portsmouth now. They've had the man sent off, this, that, and the other, and I just felt, well, it's almost like it's promoted there. It's almost like, and I wonder if it's connected to their recent history, to the relegations, to the struggles that they've had, that they know they are a big club. They know they are competing in League One, and they feel that there is a little bit of that, if you hit us, we will go down, but you won't hit us kind of attitude. Maybe I'm wrong. Portsmouth fans, feel free to shoot me down. So then we move on to the red card. Obviously, I've joked about, did they have a man sent off and that sort of thing. And fair enough, it's on first glance. Sorry, I'm just checking where my dog is. On first glance, I felt that it was harsh. I watched it in real time. It was a tough challenge. And as soon as it hit, I kind of stood up and went, "Oh, no, referee, check that." You know what I mean? As you do as a kind of a home fan. And then I watched it back. I still wasn't sure. It was only when I started seeing the stills that at the end of the day, that kid's Watmore's gone not 2-footed, but 2 feet off the ground. As soon as you have 2 feet off the ground, you have lost control of the challenge. And in today's game, if you're out of control when you go into a challenge, that is a red card. I understand that the commentators and some of the home fans feel a little aggrieved because they say, well, he won the ball. Winning the ball is no longer an excuse for a bad challenge. I've seen players win the ball in a dangerous manner and be sent off. We've seen it at the top flight. We've seen it in League Two. It's no different in any division. The second his standing foot is off the ball and he is leaping in, it looks like a Street Fighter 2 move in slow motion. It's a red card. Credit to the referee, in my opinion, for 2 things. One, he spotted it, because it would be very easy in real time not to. I didn't. If I'd been the referee, I wouldn't have sent the kid off, no doubt whatsoever. I would have given him a yellow card for a tough challenge. So credit the referee for that. Also credit him for not charging over with his red card out and creating a flashpoint. And we have seen referees do that so many times over the years. The big I am, this is my moment. He took his time. He took a look at the incident, which you can't take a look back, but he surveyed the scene. I suppose he listened to what a couple of people were saying, and then he drew the red card based on a kind of a measured opinion. I think that's fair enough. Quite. Hadouken! That's pretty much what it looked like. Then after that, as I said, I think there was the victim mentality. I felt if we were going to score, it would be in those 15 minutes before half time. I thought, we pressed the advantage. We did look for the kill. We didn't seem to create an awful lot until we hit the bar, I think, in the last second. You have to let me know if the sound goes here, because this is where I turn into the wind, I'm afraid. So, then when we hit the bar, I thought this probably isn't going to be our day, because I felt that they would make the change, come out in the second half, and be a different prospect. As it was, we came out in the second half, and we were bang on it again. And right the way up until the goal, there was one team in it. One team wanted to win it. Portsmouth felt that they were the brave underdogs at that point because they'd had a man sent off. So they were the brave team who were battling against the odds, the unfair red card. They felt maybe that the ball they had cleared off the line went over. I know that was after the goal. They felt that there was a handball in the area at one point. But look, what changed the game for us was Morgan Rogers coming on, and on Saturday it was Morgan Rogers coming off, and I think that shows good management from Michael Appleton, because he's made 2 substitutions in the space of 4 days that have changed the game. And that's not to say we were playing badly before them, but it was a change of approach. We were actually not doing badly in either game. We weren't doing badly against Northampton. We just weren't getting the breakthrough against a resilient side. And we weren't getting the breakthrough against Portsmouth, even though we were, I thought, the better side controlling it. He brings Morgan Rogers on, and instantly the kid changed the game this time. I think the first thing he's done is got into the area, just touched it back to McGrandles, who's drawn a great save from their keeper, McGillivray. There we go, I have a bit of a tongue tie. He's got a good save from him, rather, not a great save. But you instantly saw Rogers looking to get in the area. Then I think he was fouled. I think it was a penalty when he's got in the area, got across his defender, and it looked to me like there was no contact with the ball. And I felt that was a penalty, but it would have been one that if he goes against you, it's soft. And I think the contentious decisions in the game, the referee probably got right, but depending on which team you're supporting, he got wrong. I think Portsmouth fans would say that's not a penalty, he's won the ball, but they'd also say that's not a red card. We would say probably it's a red card, probably it's a penalty. So the referee, he called it from a neutral point of view. You couldn't complain too much. Second week in a row, we've probably had a shout when Johnson was fouled by Kean Bolger against Northampton. These things sometimes go for you, sometimes they don't. It wasn't clear cut, but Rogers was hungry. And then obviously the goal. Look, I think our fullbacks over the past 6 weeks have been utterly phenomenal. In terms of their attacking play, I mean, Sam and I picked up Teo Eden on Matchday Live yesterday. TJ Ioma, considering it's his first full season, he made his senior debut, remember, at the beginning of this season. He is getting better and better. And credit him for our goal. And even though he's not the one that actually scores it, he's the one that's driven into the area. He's got the cross from across the area. Nobody's touched it, fair enough, But McGrandles has then recycled the ball really, really well. And we've seen Scully do that a couple of times. And I believe had Rodgers not been on the field and Scully had, probably the same sort of position he would have taken up. And that's good coaching, because Michael and the team coach almost every situation. You can see it in our patterns of play. And the more you look for those patterns of play, the more you see it. And opposition managers will see that, but they don't know how to stop it. So McGrandles has recycled the ball really well. Superb one-touch finish from Rodgers. Massive for him, because that gives him a spark of confidence going into the next couple of games. He's still going to be very key for us, even though he was dropped yesterday. He changed the game. And that's what we have. We have a relatively small squad, but we have a squad that has got the depth to change any game in one way or the other. So if we need attacking intent, like we did last night, you've got Rodgers, you've got Anderson, arguably you've got Remy Howarth when he's fit, you've got Theo Archibald. If you've gone attacking and you need to defend a little more, then you've got more dedicated defensive fullbacks. I mean, I think Max Melbourne probably is a little bit more defensive, considering he can play centre-half than Theo Eden is. McGrandles is probably a midfielder that offers you a little bit more in a defensive place than James Jones does. Michael has got a couple of, Morgan said he said a couple of good things. Yeah, sorry, I thought that was about Michael. Michael said that he's looking for a couple of transfers this week. Obviously, strong rumours are Michael Mancien has been on trial. If he's one, then you've got more defensive options and you've got a little bit more experience as well. So moving on to the top performers from last night, in a win like that, it feels almost crass to say somebody was man of the match, because there wasn't a single Lincoln City player on the field who didn't play their part. There were 5 or 6 standout performers for me. And whilst I pick these out, I don't want that to be a reflection on the 5 or 6 that I don't pick out. But I certainly think both fullbacks were brilliant. I think Theo Eden in the past few weeks has been superb, and taking the Doncaster game in as well. If he has a similar performance, it's likely that the Stacey West readers are going to vote him Player of the Month, because he's had a superb month. So they were both very, very good. I thought Liam Bridcut was excellent. I thought Bridcut did exactly what you want him to do. The number of balls that he reads and cuts out, and the number of balls that he retains by reading the play and knowing where to be as it's either coming into him or going into an opposition player. He's such an intelligent player, and he is the player that does some of the dirty work, and he does misplace some passes. And sometimes when you're watching on iFollow, you see the misplaced pass, your Bridcut's misplaced that pass, can't play him well, whereas in actual fact, you sometimes forget the passage of play that's led up to it. It's like a goal. Think of TJ Ioma putting a cross in for the goal. How did the ball end up there? Who played a role in that particular move that got the ball into that area? Because those players are just as important as the ones at the sharp end of the move. It's the whole move that's important, not just the 2 or 3 passes before the ball goes back into the goal, into the back of the net. I think up top, Tom Hopper worked phenomenally hard again, particularly in the first 30 minutes where we were defending from the front. But I thought he had a very, very good game. I thought Brennan Johnson always caused them problems, or certainly looked to cause them problems when he got on the ball. But for me, man of the match by a mile. And there's certainly Dave Wilkinson agrees with me. Dave Johnson agrees with me. I thought McGrandles had his best game in a Lincoln City shirt by some distance. And that's not to say that he hasn't played well before. I thought he was exceptional. Absolutely exceptional last night. He covered every blade of grass on that pitch. And if you need any indication of that, it was him that cleared the ball off the line late on. I didn't spot it in real time, and they didn't put a replay on, so I found the photo this morning on the Portsmouth site, and there's McGrandles heading the ball off the line, I believe. He's the one that's created the goal by recycling the ball very, very well at the back stick to find Morgan. He's also had 2 or 3 good efforts. I think there was 2 headers on goal that pulled a save, one that should have gone in. He's then tested the keeper himself when Rodgers has just come on. I just thought he had the complete box-to-box midfielder game last night. When you needed him to, he was tracking back. When you wanted help in attack, he was joining in the attack. I mean, genuinely, if I had a car with an engine like him, it would be absolutely superb. Do you know what I mean? You'd never take it into the garage, never need an MOT or service because it would just go forever. I think McGrandles is one of the players who has been underrated in the first half of the season up until last night, and I think we've now hit the halfway mark. And I don't think there'll be many people who could possibly say that McGrandles is not a key component of this side. Imagine Michael Appleton sat there today thinking Donny at home this week. James Jones is fit again. He's played nearly every game that he's been fit for. Got Conor McGrandles, who's done more in the last 120 minutes than some Lincoln midfielders do in their entire career. I've got George Grant, who's George Grant. I've got Liam Bridcut, who's the heartbeat of the side. That's 4 midfielders into 3. It's no wonder poor old Robbie Gotts went off to Salford, is there? No, really. So this morning, where are we? Well, I'm like Neil Carlton, first time this season, I believe we can go up. Do you know what? I am exactly the same as that, because up until last night, I've been waiting for the bubble to burst. We're Lincoln City. It doesn't happen to us. Okay, we won League Two. Okay, we won the National League. We're at the FA Cup quarter-final. We won the EFL Trophy. There's still a mindset that it doesn't happen to us, because you start missing those out. Well, that was League Two. We've won Division 4 before, so we've won League Two before. We've won the National League before. 82 Fulham. That's a ghost that has cast a shadow over this football club for 38 years. It is. Sorry, I'm trying to get the right angle now. 38 years. Jacob Langham's with me. He thinks we'll go up as well. It's because of that kind of mentality that I've always just, I've gone into these games fearing them. I haven't enjoyed some of them. I've enjoyed the games as they've gone on. I've enjoyed the wins. But like the build-up yesterday, I can't say that I had the Cornell-style confidence to kind of, we're going to win every game. I genuinely thought at some point Hull City, Portsmouth, Ipswich, Sunderland, Charlton, Peterborough would all turn on the gas. Or put their foot on the gas, rather. And they would leave little old Lincoln in their wake. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I can't see a way forward into the second half of the season where we don't get 40 points. And what we're on now, 48, 88 points is going to have you there or thereabouts. And we'll know, well, I keep saying we'll know a lot more after the next few games. We'll know a lot more after we've played Hull City once. Next big game, you've got to win the ones in between. Can't slip up against the Gillinghams, the Accringtons, who have gone off a little bit. I don't really know what more to say. I've never known times like it. And I've said that every season for the last 5 seasons. Promotion from the National League was historic. Going to the EFL Trophy final, for whatever you think of the tournament, was historic. Winning League Two was historic. Then Danny leaving, Michael coming in, the season being curtailed, never knew times like it. Whether it was successful or not is a different matter. Never know times like it. And here we are, the 5th season in a row where I wake up in the morning and just think, what the hell is going on with my football club? And for the 5 years before that we were in the National League, I thought the same thing, but not for the same reasons. FA Trophy games against Bradford Park Avenue, getting beat in those with normality. Now we've gone to Fratton Park, won, top of League One. And when you're there, League One always felt so far away. Even when we were in League Two under Keith Alexander, the top of League One always felt like a holy grail almost. Like, God, imagine if you're there. For a club like Lincoln, imagine if you were competing there. Now we're there. I don't know, it just feels comfortable. It just feels like, yeah, we're all right. We can do this. We can go up to the Championship and play teams who are in the Premier League right now, 3 of them next season. Jesus Christ. Right, I'll have a quick look through some of your comments, and then I'll get off because we're nearly at the end of the walk here. I did have a phone call beforehand. So let me go all the way back. Lots and lots of comments coming in. Lots of viewers this morning. Dave Johnson said the ref had a decent game. He got the calls right, let both sides play. I think he did. Reece Marshall, 60 minutes. I thought it was going to finish 0-0. I did as well, but that's not why I put 0-0 on Twitter. That was just a Gary curse that I wanted to to talk about. Jake, Tom, good old Jake. How you doing, pal? Morning, Gary. Not really like the Pompey commentary team to mention they were down to 10 men every 20 seconds or so. Not at all. Guy Whittingham was a great player, but not a great pundit. I don't think so. Jacob Langham just says, I feel the game was a great game. Jacob, I am with you, mate. It was a great game. Superb. Kev Green, well done for predicting the score again. More luck than judgment. I wanted to say 0-0, but if I said 0-0 and it happened, people would say I should have called it 1-0. So I called it 1-0. And it happened. I've got the Midas touch. Kev McCarthy, I think he's talking about the bench. Jones, Monsma, Morton, plus a couple of signings to come in as well. Could be a very, very strong squad going into those last 23 games. Very, very strong squad. Neil's still buzzing. Bring on Donny. 100%. Yeah. And I'll tell you something, a win against Donny. Been dreamland. Absolute dreamland. Palmer hasn't had a lot to do in the last two matches. Centre-back partnership to stay for the time being. I thought actually I missed Joe Walsh out of my exciting, excellent players. I thought he was brilliant last night. Played the Monsma role well, brought the ball out well. Jackson did the same, but I thought Walsh is a great centre-back. Very, very good indeed. Dave Johnson-Edwards played fantastic. It's one really poor performance he had maybe 5 games ago. Yeah, I think so. Sunderland, I think that was. I don't think he played well against Sunderland. Might have been a game that we drew, but I'm pretty sure that's when it was. Nick couldn't sleep until gone 3:30 last night, like Neil. Very good. Kate, you're a man of knowledge. Do Appleton's sides tend to have a stronger second half of the season? Could be exciting times. I think he tends to be fairly generic, fairly kind of steady throughout. I mean, he's taken them he took Oxford to EFL Trophy finals twice in a row, so he obviously doesn't do too badly in the second half of the season. I think the way that he works, he isn't like a Bielsa who tends to burn his players out and then struggle in the second half of the season. I don't think he's a Peterborough or Portsmouth who hit a bad run of form and can't turn it around. I think whenever we've lost a couple of games this season, he's turned it around very, very quickly, and we've got back on the horse very quickly. It's where we are, why we are. I think if we were to lose a game or two, I genuinely don't think that would turn into a run of 5, 6, or 7. But might be famous last words. Steve Freestone, hello mate. The commitment of both teams last night was immense. The sending off was key. I think that broke Portsmouth. 2-foot challenge. It was a red. Yeah, absolutely. The commitment was great as well. Was great. Craig Harvey, he thinks it's time to start getting carried away. I hope he's talking about football, because Wednesday mornings in lockdown are not anything to get carried away with. Dave Johnson, nobody has Cornell's confidence at anything. Correct. If confidence was worth money, that kid would be a millionaire. Lee Dixon, next 4 or 5 games are massive in the season. Big games come through, then we have to be favourites to go up. I feel that the 3 that we're in now, Northampton, Portsmouth and Doncaster, they were the 3 that I felt could define the season. And I stand by that. I think if you beat Doncaster on Saturday, everybody looks at Lincoln City as favourites. I don't think you can do any other, because then you've more or less dealt with everybody who, not as serious, but because your Portsmouth, your Sunderlands and your Ipswiches are a long way behind. Got games in hand of the likes of Charlton as well. So, the 2 Hull games are the big ones. I'd say 3 Hull games, but look, sod the EFL Trophy. If we take 2 wins against Hull in the league, I don't care if they put 10 past us in the EFL Trophy. I really do not think so. Robert Clark, morning. Dare we believe just yet? We certainly dare. Martin Gray, strong defence this season with great movement throughout the team. Agreed. Played very, very well. I think the only time that defence has looked ropey is when we've had to have a makeshift defence. Can't think who played against Sunderland when we lost 4-0, but certainly the 3-1 against Portsmouth at our place was very makeshift as well. Pete says Modern Lincoln, league title every 2 seasons. Bring on the Premier League in that case. Still rumours that Darren Moore's off to Sheffield Wednesday. That could dent Doncaster. It's also how John Bostock settles there as well. Going to be interesting to see if he can replace Ben Whiteman. I think last night's win for them was probably best described as routine. One they would expect to get. They need to win the big games as well, and we're one of those. And Sean says Gillingham will be tough. They're playing well. Steve Evans' sides go in patches, don't they? They're very good and they're very bad. They're just coming into being very good. So I think it's going to be a challenging game for us, that without a doubt. Look, thank you very much. That's 24 minutes of me rambling on without anybody else's voice at all, which is plenty for anybody. Even I know that. My dog, I don't know if you can see him, but he's over there waiting desperately for me to be able to take him home. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm basically going to more or less write exactly what I've just said in an article this afternoon, because let me tell you, when Lincoln City go top of League One by 3 points by winning away at somewhere like Portsmouth with 2 million strikers, I'm going to milk that bad boy. I'm going to milk it good. And do not turn that into a meme, Stuart. I've just realised what I've said. Enjoy the rest of your day, people. Thank you for watching. Thank you for reading. Thank you for everything that you do for me. I really, really appreciate it. Don't know if you've seen, but the Football Supporters Association are currently accepting nominations for Best Fan Media. Wouldn't want to point you towards that, but it was an honour to be there 2 years ago. Take care. Cheers.